My name is Nelson, and I have Margery, who is my ex-boss in State Street, Hong Kong. First of all, let me begin a very brief introduction of myself. I'm coming from Hong Kong, but now based in Melbourne. I moved to Melbourne in 2021, and my expertise is in fund operation. I have been working in fund admin, trustee operation, and my last role in Hong Kong was, I think, as the COO, Chief Operating Officer in Sun Life Asset Management in Hong Kong. And when I moved to Australia, luckily, I still have chance to work in fund-related industry, in fund accounting. Yeah, over to you, Margery. Do you want to briefly introduce yourself?
Sure, Nelson. I'm so happy that I can work with you again. So in this channel edition, way that we can present more and share more about fund administrators' role to our audience. My name is Margery. I'm based in Hong Kong right now. So just slightly before I take up this new role, new challenge. Actually, I'm heading up the finance and fund administrator role, fund services role at BOCI trustee company. So this is a trustee company that which we also do fund administration.
Hmm.
So I have done fund administration for over 2 decades. So starting from State Street, as Nelson said, we met each other. But I know Nelson is not really 20 years. He's much younger than me.
Well, slightly more than 20 years. I think I'm younger than you. I think yes.
You are younger than me, definitely, no doubt. So I've been in this fund administration industry for really long. So in between, I worked in an insurance company. So I had the
Hmm.
treasury, and then I also do porter role at BNP Paribas and also as HSBC Security Services. So over
I
to you,
see, I
Nelson.
see. Okay, cool. You mentioned about trustee. Now, well, since this is a Australian channel, so I want to tell you that in Australia they don't normally call trustee, but they call them RE. So RE is stand for responsible entity, but the role and responsibility is very similar with a trustee. So it really depends on the fund type. Some of the fund type they call themselves RE, but some of the fund type, for example, superannuation fund, which is the pension fund in Australia, they call themselves trustee. So I think this is something new to me as well because in Hong Kong we just have trustee. We don't have something called RE. Yeah, so yeah, this is something new to me as well. But in
Yeah.
terms of fund administration, fund operation, we're pretty much the same in Hong
Mhm.
Kong. But I would say Australia may be a little bit laid back compared to Hong Kong. Um, when I first joined the company, some of the NAV pricing is still, I would say, is semi-auto or semi-auto, yeah, because they are still using Excel to strike the NAV. But at the same time, they will have a system to do the bookkeeping, to do the double entry, to populate the financial statement, P&L statement, balance sheet. But yeah, I think overall compared to Hong Kong, I would say Hong Kong is more advanced in this case compared to Australia.
This is
So
really
would you mind to share
surprising.
a bit like,
Yeah.
yeah, in Hong, I think it's good for our Australian audience. Can you share a bit like how does um how does Hong Kong fund administrator, I mean, in terms of the technology, like is it very advanced in Hong Kong or is still using Excel nowadays?
Um, I would say a mixture of Excel and system. So,
Hmm.
like you said, right, when we start our career in the earlier
Mm.
stages, so actually we use more Excel, but then right now actually we use system more than Excel. So I'm a little surprised when you say in Australia, so basically they use Excel more than system. That's how.
Yeah, that's right, correct.
Mm,
Yeah. Even some of the I would say very popular fund administrator here in Australia, they are not that advanced at the moment. Because and they used to offshore their fund administration duties to the other Southeast Asia country, for example, India or Malaysia. So back in Australia, our work is more on oversight. So we have to work closely with our offshore team to strike the NAV and then send the NAV to our fund manager for approval. So yeah, and then what I come across all the day is we are being keep chasing by our fund manager on the price every day because we are not the one doing the NAV. We are the one chasing our offshore team to send the NAV to us. So we kind of middleman between the fund manager and the offshore team in India or in Malaysia. So it's very challenged. The role I'm working before is very challenged. You have a very good communication, collaboration with different team and coordination skill as well. Mm.
I think Nelson, you bring up a very good point. So likewise in Hong Kong, so a lot of jobs on a lot of security services company basically they outsource the work
All right.
to offshore locations. For example, they offshore to India, China. So what we call more low-cost location. So the thing is
Mm.
they also need to pick up and learn how to do the NAV calculation and fund administrator role. But then when they're learning, actually it kind of also push us. So like what you just said, so a manager chase you and then you chase off that office and
Yeah,
then
that's
that
right. That's
office
right.
also chase us and then say
Yes,
fund
exactly.
administrator, when can you extract the NAV? And then they, because
Right.
like fund managers still need to do the checking. I'm not too sure in
Yeah.
Australia, will it be different from Hong Kong? So in Hong Kong, you mentioned about most of our funds actually in unit trust structure. So that's why we
Yep.
do have a trustee role. And then in
Yep.
recent year, we do have a new regime called open-ended fund company regime. So
Mm.
they the fund manager basically they appoint a custodian. So what's the difference between trustee and custodian? I can tell you in Hong Kong, basically the same. So we also need to exercise the fiduciary duty, oversight the funds to ensure everything actually in line with the fund's perspective. I guess it will be quite similar to in
Yeah, it's
Australia,
very,
right?
very,
The
very
RD
similar.
actually
So
they also do the same role,
yeah,
right?
exactly. Yeah, they're doing the fiduciary duty as well. But day on day-to-day basis, I mean, the fund administrator main contact is still with the fund manager. Trustee will only be involved when there's any, for example, incident or issue which we need to bring up to them. Otherwise, day-to-day we normally deal with the fund manager or the custodian only. Yeah. So when you mentioned about the NAV, what I recall that when we finish the pricing, we call unit pricing here in Australia. We normally call unit pricing. We don't call ourselves fund accountant. In Australia, we call ourselves unit pricing. So when the unit price is calculated, we will need to send the price to our fund manager for approval. So
Mhm.
without their approval, we cannot send the price to, for example, the fund supermarket or any newspaper or agency. So there's some um time timing involved because it takes times for a fund manager to approve the price. And then yeah, so everything is very manual. We have to send the price from email to the external party. And as well, the price will need to send to our unit registry. Now, unit registry is something new, I think, to you because unit registry, in other terms, is transfer agents. In Hong Kong, we call transfer agents. So they are doing the processing the subscription, redemption, and then whenever there's new investor on board, they need to do the KYC AML. Now in Australia, we call ourselves unit registry. The function is really the same. They are doing the exact same job, just the term is different. So the price, when it is calculated and approved by the fund manager, we have to send the price to our unit registry team, and they will process the subscription, redemption, switching, or transfer as well. So yeah, I think the flow is very, very similar with Hong Kong. Just the terminology is slightly different. And since I am still relatively new in the Australian market, so I'm still learning at the moment. Yeah.
That's good. But for Hong Kong, actually, we also call TA registry sometimes because,
Yeah.
like for example, for public fund, so they
Yeah.
do have a function to register the unit. So we also have the
Right.
registered role, but it's more
Right.
for the the public fund. But then for the
Right.
private fund, so in general, we call these investor services as a whole, is
Right.
including registry and then transfer agency and the
Right.
investor reporting. Nowadays,
Right.
we do a lot of investor reporting, so we can cover. I think we can talk, you know, 2 or 3 episodes on that, only on investor services. Because it covers like KYC process and then like
Yeah.
tax reporting. So I think our channel, the people they might know a lot about the factor, CRS, that kind of stuff. So
Right.
a lot of they actually tapped under the investor services piece. So we can talk about that. Also, you can also supplement what's the difference between the Hong Kong investor service and on the Australia investor
Well, I
service.
think they do have, for example, whenever there's any subscription redemption, they have to send the contract note to the client, and on a monthly basis, there's some statement which will show the transaction throughout the month, or over the year, and there's some statement for the year as well. So I think the reporting is pretty similar, just the terminology is different. Now, another thing which is quite interesting or new to me was something called catch-up pricing. Now,
Mm.
I'm not sure in Hong Kong whether there's a catch-up pricing. Now, in Australia, most of the fund will do distribution. So whenever there's a distribution, first of all, they have to perform a distribution calculation and then send it to the fund manager and the trustee, as well as the external auditor for review and approval. And once the distribution calculation is finalized and agreed, we have to come up so-called an X price. Just like a dividend, there's an X price. Now, fund also have an X price. But during the calculation, distribution calculation process, it can take up to like 1 or even 2 weeks or even longer. So during that period, the fund price will be freezed. So we cannot generate any fund price until the distribution has been completed. So you can imagine that during that period, there's no fund price in the market, and the fund manager will be frustrated, but they do understand the reason behind. But they will keep chasing when is the distribution calculation is ready, complete, and when can we start resume pricing? Because um, even the price is not available during that time, investor can still place subscription redemption. So you can imagine that the subscription redemption, the order will keep accumulating, and when the price start resumed, then we have to do the catch-up pricing. Catch-up pricing is we have to finish like 3 or even 5 price per day in order to catch up back to the normal. So during the year end in Australia, typically for the fund are June 30th. So in the beginning of July or throughout the whole month of July, fund administrator is very, very busy. They may need to work 12 or 15 hours per day. Some of the fund administrator, they have to, in order to catch up the pricing, they may need to work over the weekend. But as I said, the pricing was done by our offshore team. So which means our offshore colleague, they also need to stay overtime in order to finish the pricing. And also the fund manager, because they have to approve the price as well. So sometimes they have to stay a bit longer than usual to approve the price.
Wow.
So yeah, it's a big task and a big event in Australia when during the year-end processing. And when the year-end process is complete, they used to celebrate. It's a
I,
very big
I think
event.
so. It should be a big
Yeah,
celebration.
it's a big celebration. Yeah, that's right. But I don't remember that in Hong Kong, the fund I come across has any distribution or any catch-up pricing. I can't remember that. Maybe the process is different, or most of the fund in Hong Kong doesn't have any distribution.
I'm not too sure because like maybe the distribution period will be a little bit shorter in Hong Kong than in Australia.
Yeah,
I'm not too sure about the
right,
duration thing because like in
right.
Hong Kong, most of the fund we also have the distribution. Of course, we also
Yeah,
have fixed price for
yeah,
distribution before after.
right.
So the thing is like when we do the distribution, so the transfer agency, the investor services team, they will have to do the the distribution based upon the investor's record. But then it will
Yeah,
be one day, 2 days thing is not like
right.
long duration. And during this period, we still need to strike the NAV based on the the
Mhm.
dispersion. Of course, we need to record the dispersion in our NAV
Right,
calculation to consider
right.
that into our NAV
Yeah.
calculation. But then we would not hold up all the subscription redemption with during this period. We
Hmm.
continue to do the things.
Mm. Yeah, I think this process is something different. I think in Australia we can explore or like take a reference from the Hong Kong um how to process the distribution without holding the price. Because I think this is very interesting to me and new to me when I come to Australia. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it worth discussion among the two locations, Hong Kong and LA, to
Yeah, that's right.
understand
That's
the
right.
process. I think this part, I
Yeah.
think, really interests me because like in Hong Kong we do not have that whole apparel, and some
Mm,
prices is so important that for a daily
yeah.
fund that means it can
Yeah.
be traded
That's right.
daily. We
Yeah.
have to trade anyway on a daily basis, and
Yes, that's
in
right.
case we can't be able to complete the NAV before the so-called NAV cutoff time, the manager keep chasing us every
Yeah,
minute.
exactly. Yeah, we came across this situation like the trustee or the RE and the fund manager keep chasing us. When can I get the fund price? Because the investor is asking, for example, if they place a redemption order, they need to get the money back ASAP. But since the price is not ready, so they cannot get the money and they raise the issue to the fund manager, and then the fund manager will raise the complaint to our CS team, RM, or even the back office. So that period is, I would say, is very frustrated and
It's
stressful
nightmare.
at that moment. Yes, a nightmare. Yeah, that's right. That's right. Correct. Correct. Yeah. So yeah, when you mentioned about the NAV, I think now in Australia, since we are using most of the time we are using Excel, I think system outage may not be that often, but if using system to generate an AV, I'm pretty sure that you have come across some situation before saying that there's a system outage or other issues. So how can you manage the fund manager expectation? Is it really a system outage or there's some reason behind that the NAV will be delayed?
Um, Really challenging question, Nelson. But honestly, I launched my career life like over 20 plus year, right? We do really encounter few system outage, which is quite normal because like
Mm,
IT, cybersecurity, we always talk about that.
yeah,
But of course, we are not going into the cybersecurity things, but like system outage is quite common. I wouldn't say it's not uncommon. But then like I think from my perspective, it's quite different. If we rely on the system more or we do many more, then will be a little bit different. So in my earlier stage, so we come across the system outage. So the system basically down during the month end
right.
period. So at that time,
Oh,
when I was the fund accountant, um, I was the fund accountant and doing the monthly funds. Suddenly, the system down during the month end period, and we need to produce the month end report to our client with ET plus P. That means month end day plus P. Then we have to deliver the month end report to the client. But then it happened on the first day of the month. The system
oh,
down. So what
all
happened
right.
is like preparation is always important. So that's the lesson learned from that system outage. So we do a lot of thing called P audit. So maybe quite new to even the fund administrator nowadays. They might find this term. Wow, what is it about P audit? So we would do some preparation. So 1 week before the month end day, so we would download the position data, and then we go to the
Mm,
Bloomberg terminal and do the checking. Like for example, the
mm,
Trump prices and the interest accrual, all these things, ensure the fund is running properly. So everything we've done, we do the P audit. So for me, what I would do actually 1 day or 2 days before the month day, I would do a second round of P audit. So the
okay.
team, basically the company requires to do one time, 1 week before, but then sometimes I would do one more time, especially for those funds with a lot of holdings. So I
All
do not
right.
want to hear all the things when during the month end period. So I would do one
Okay.
or 2 days before, then I would do another round of P audit. That
All
saved
right.
me because at that time the system outage, and then I used the download the data I download 1 or 2 days before the month end day to finish the NAV manually. So when the
Manually.
system, yeah,
Okay.
manually. So when the system out, so I just do the high level checking to ensure the manual calculation result and the result I download from system is correct. In nine, then I can
All right.
complete my month end. So this is the
Okay.
number one lesson learned. So we always prepare, even though we rely a lot on system, we can't
Mm,
100% rely. So we always
mm.
need to have BCP, Plan B.
Yeah,
So
that's
it's quite
true. Right, right, right.
important. So
Agree.
lately, I also come across system outage in my former role. So what I need to do basically first thing we need to prioritize because we do have a lot of
Mm,
public fund and also some
mm,
monthly fund or some Cayman fund or other different funds. So first of
mm,
all, we need to prioritize. So for those
mm,
public fund, that means SFC authorized fund that we need to strengthen every day. We need to put very high priority to that, and then after we categorize different kinds of funds, then we need to categorize the timing, the any time that we need to provide to our client to the manager. So we prioritize those things, and then all the team need to work closely together when we have that
mm.
system outage. So I think preparation before anything happen, we never know when it happen, right?
Yeah,
So we need to
true.
prepare. And then we have a set of BCP, what we need to do
Mm.
step by step when there is system outage. That's quite important.
Oh, that's really good. Yeah, I think I can share this with my Australian friend, like how to prepare in advance in case there are system outage, because you never know when will happen. So we always need to prepare in advance. Yeah.
This also help the managers to distinguish what is a good fund administrator, a better fund
Ah,
administrator. Let me put it this
yeah.
way. So when you guys do the diligence on the fund
Yep.
administrator, so whether you want to employ or engage this fund administrator, check with them in terms of BCP policy. So in case there is
Mm.
system outage, what would you do? And see what they say. That actually you
Yeah.
can have a sense that whether this fund administrator is a good one, you should engage them or no. Even though it's cheaper, I might need to engage the next door one.
Agree. Yeah, BCP is very important nowadays, especially I think during COVID period, we use BCP a lot. So yeah, I strongly agree with you on this part. I think we almost time. I think
Yeah,
we can continue on our next video talking about like the how to compose an NAV and then what pricing error we always come across and how can we handle pricing error. And perhaps we may talk about AI. How can AI help us to do, for example, NAV validation or what can they do for us and whether an administrator is still necessary in this industry going forward.
yep,
Okay, thank
sure.
you, Marjorie.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. Have
See
a
you
good
all this
day.
time
Thank you.
today.
Bye-bye.
Bye.